Call the Broken Arrow City Council meeting to order. We have invocation by Pastor Steve Smith.
First Baptist Church of Broken Arrow is privileged to serve for 120 years this year in our Broken Arrow community, worshiping and serving our community. It's my honor to be here to open this session tonight with prayer. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the wonderful privilege of living and serving in such a wonderful community as Broken Arrow. I thank you for each of these leaders in this room tonight and all these residents who so faithfully serve and give to make it such a great place to live. And in this world that is so divided, our culture, our community, our country that's so divided politically this year, I just pray that you would make us a beacon of light and a community that represents love and care for one another despite our differences. We pray for these proceedings tonight. May you guide and direct and give wisdom to those who are making decisions and those who are presenting, and all those we commit to you. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
And congratulations on 120 years.
I know, right? It's amazing. Roll call.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Gillespie. Wimpy.
Here, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
She is. She's wanting to go home. She's a long ways from you.
Yeah, for real. Okay, we are tabling item X on the consent agenda. Is there any other items to be removed?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda minus item X.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Now, was that item for discussion or just tabling for now?
Table it for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, item 7A, approval of and authorization to execute a proclamation declaring the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. So I believe we've got members of the Daughters of the Revolution in the audience. Would you guys like to come up to the podium? Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Did you want to mention anything before I read the proclamation?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Today marks the 237th birthday of our Constitution. On behalf of the Broken Arrow Creek chapter in SDAR, we want to thank Mayor Wimpy, the City Council, and the City of Broken Arrow for proclaiming this support during Constitution Week, September the 17th to the 23rd. I would like to announce that our chapter, in partnership with the American Battlefield Trust and the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, will host the American Revolution Traveling Exhibit in the Art Gallery at the Broken Arrow NSU campus from December the 5th through the 17th. This is a free history exhibit containing 12 panels and 3 interactive kiosks about people and places in the Revolutionary War. What a fantastic way to promote America's upcoming 250th birthday. Everyone is welcome to attend.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, and the proclamation reads, whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government and a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Wimpy, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the City of Broken Arrow, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city to be affixed the 17th day of September of the year of our Lord 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
I want to give one of those to you, and then we're going to take a picture with you. Do you want the whole council, or do you want one?
Let's the council go down. Are these exactly the same?
They are, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Our vice mayor actually belongs to the chapter that just showed up, and I belong to the other chapter in Broken Arrow. We have two chapters, so thank you for coming.
I would like to make a motion to approve the proclamation declaring the week of September 17th through the 23rd Constitution Week.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Yes.
Can I vote for Christie?
I think she'd vote yes.
I do
I'm
too.
pretty sure. All right. Item 7B, presentation updating the council on the status of the Uber Ride Share program. Michaela.
Good evening. I'm Michaela Barton, Tourism Manager. So if you all recall, in the fall of 2022, the council approved a pilot program for a rideshare program. And the original intent of this program was to just kind of help promote shopping and dining to our visitors that come into the city. And it's just an extra way of letting them know that some visitors don't know that we have the Rose District, and they don't know that we have New Orleans Square. And so it was just sort of a creative way to give visitors this information. So the idea was that if any visitor would stay at least one evening in the hotel, they would get a free ride and a free ride back from the Rose District only or New Orleans Square. So these are some of the things that we've done marketing-wise over the past 2 years. Flyers, business cards, website. The biggest push was really to educate hotel staff and make sure that they're letting visitors know about the program. You can go to the next slide. So over the 2 years, we've had about 258 trips, and I think I wasn't here when we went through this, but I wasn't sure. I don't think that we knew what to expect, so we were just kind of trying it out. That's what a pilot program is, right? So 258 trips. We've learned that the average person stays 1.5 nights. I really don't know what 1.5 nights is. I just thought of that as I said it out loud. 2 trips per person per night. And then overall, we've spent about $7,000. So originally for the pilot, we budgeted $50,000. So we've spent a significant amount less than we thought. And so when I got here, one of my initial projects was just to sort of analyze this and find out, is this something that we want to continue doing, or do we want to just not to do it anymore? So we've worked with Visit Broken Arrow Board. We went to the board. We had lengthy discussions about it. Is it worth it? Is it not? And really the only time spent, or the only lift for Visit Broken Arrow staff is the time that we spend in the marketing. Otherwise, the program pretty much does its own thing. It doesn't really take us a lot of time other than just making sure that we're marketing it and making sure that the hotels know what's going on. So the feedback was overall positive. I think one of the issues that one of the things that we think is the main issue is turnover of hotel staff and the front desk staff, where they're not necessarily telling everyone that we have this great program. So the Visit Broken Arrow did recommend, or Visit Broken Arrow Board did recommend that we continue the program. We have some ideas for continuing to market and, try new things and just making sure. I think it just takes time for people to learn about the program. I think you go to the next slide. So beyond just recommending continuing as is, we also, the staff and Visit Broken Arrow Board and the hotels have brought up that they think that if we could add the Tulsa Airport and rides back and forth from Tulsa Airport, that would be a huge benefit for the hotels to be able to advertise. So that is one thing that we are going to be adding and trying it out. And then also the current hours of the program were just Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And it was recommended because we have some new businesses in the Rose District that stay open till 2 a.m. And if they're going to be down there spending money and, eating and drinking, and then we might as well just keep it 7 days a week from, the time businesses open until the time they all close. Sure. So those are a few things that we are going to be trying as we continue the program. We're officially changing it from a pilot program. We're just going to be putting it into our budget and analyzing it every year and just kind of going from there and deciding if we want to continue or not. But at this point, we don't see any reason why to not keep trying. So we've had, anywhere we go across the state, people are asking us about the program and how do you do it. I mean, it's a great concept. I think we just need to give it more time and try new things marketing-wise and make sure that people know about it.
Yeah. Now,
So-
is it, are all the hotels participating in this?
All the hotels know about it.
Okay.
Whether or not they're sharing, and, we can only do so much with private business, and we say, please share this. But if they don't, and
could we ask that they add it to like their websites? They don't have to, but I would think it would be an added benefit for people to stay in our hotels if they know that they can get free Uber rides to go.
Or for the hotel itself.
Yeah.
yes, and we do, so at the hoteliers meeting, we started doing those quarterly, and we do our quarterly outreach to the hotels, so we do take them information. They have the business cards. Some of them are not allowed to put the business cards with this QR code on the counter. They all have their different rules. And they also have different rules about what they can talk about when someone checks in, because they're wanting to say, hey, our pool is here and our, here's our things, and they don't necessarily always say we have this great program. So we're doing what we can, and I think it's just.
Could it be placed in each room, or could it be?
They also have some of them.
Okay.
Some of them also have very strict rules about what. We've had this
Some
discussion.
of the changes are even when I was at the police department, we tried to put things in different rooms so they would lock up their valuables and bring them in. And they were very strict on those types of things too, just different brands.
Okay.
They're very regulated.
Yeah. We do have some ideas, though. Most hotels at least allow a book, so they are allowing a Tulsa visitor's guide, which we, of course, are like, what about a Broken Arrow visitor's guide?
Yeah.
So we are talking about either doing our own that can be, and there's a hardback book that's not changed out all the time, or our own section in the Tulsa visitor guide. So talking about a couple of different things that could potentially be done. And then also just where we have the ad at the airport, but included in that package that we bought, we have digital ads when you're walking out of the terminal that say, that change all the time. So we have those ad placements as well that we'll be using. The tricky part is just timing of the ads.
Right.
Do they already know where they're going by the time they get there? And,
Yeah.
So we're just kind of working through that, but we're going to be adding some different things marketing-wise.
Okay.
So.
And I know she said this, but just to be clear, you have to stay in one of our hotels to get a ride from the airport to Broken Arrow.
You can't just go sit in the lobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They won't take you to your house in Broken Arrow.
Yes, but we put the little cards and information and all the swag bags for the conferences that come in, and we keep shouting it from the rooftops, but we just need additional support, so we'll keep trying.
I am really proud of the staff because they are really thinking outside of the box on these advertisements and the way they're trying to get the word out. And with the people that are coming in for conferences and such, trying to get ahead of the game, like before they get here, letting them know what's available in our city.
Yeah, and we do have a hoteliers meeting tomorrow, so this is going to be one of the topics of conversation again. I think every time, but how can we? And it might be conversation, and maybe we do it differently with each hotel. We have 10 hotels in Broken Arrow, so that wouldn't be too much just to. What works best for you, and we'll do whatever that is.
Yeah.
So,
What's the average ride cost, do you think? Or does it
It's
matter
about-
on timing?
It depends on if they go down to New Orleans Square, the Rose District,
Sure.
but it's about $10
Okay,
or so.
all right.
So,
Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Item 8 is citizens' opportunity to address the council, and there are none. Item 9, general council business. 9A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute Resolution 1603, a resolution fixing the amount of general obligation bonds, Series 2024, to mature each year. Cindy Arnold.
Good evening. During the budget workshop, we talked about we had a list of projects. They pretty much are the same. We did make a few modifications because our NAV was higher, so we were able to bond a little bit more. But Resolution 1603 is fixing the amount of the general obligation bonds. It will be Series 2024 to mature each year, fixing the time and place of the bonds are being sold. Over the Friday, I sent out the preliminary official statement to circulate. That is something that will go out to the public once it's finalized. So can we get the project list? Thank you. So this series 2024A will be the 9th series sold from the 2018 bond election, which will include $19,845,000 in Proposition 1, which is transportation, and then $3,655,000 from Proposition 3, which is the quality of life. Staff is recommending approval of Resolution 1603 and authorize its execution. We will go out to sell in 30 days to sell the bonds and then close thereafter.
These are issues that was passed by the citizens.
Yes, in
that
2018.
2018. And we just sell those bonds off as we pay them off. So this 24 sale is this right here.
Actually, the authorization was for $210 million. And based on our NAV, it was a 10-year bond series.
Right.
But our NAV keeps increasing, so we're actually going to be
No.
ending our 10-year sale. So,
That's good.
Very early. Yep.
So this has been approved by the citizens in that
Correct.
2018 bond issue.
And the NAV you're referring to is the net assessed value, correct?
correct.
For those who may not know
I'm sorry.
our code.
Yes. Justin likes to share the acronyms,
Look,
which is
sometimes
good.
I don't
People
know
don't know.
certain things, so I
Yeah.
just want everybody to,
And when we work with it every day, we just assume.
right?
Yep. All right, any further discussion?
I make a motion we approve the resolution 1603.
Second?
Have a motion and a second, roll call. Item 9B is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute.
Approved and the authority.
Okay.
Thank you.
Possible award of the lowest possible bid to Cherokee Pride Construction. Charlie Bright.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, well, no Vice Mayor, council members, and Mr. Spurgeon. My name is Charlie Bright. I'm the Director of Engineering Construction. Happy to present to you guys tonight. I'm sure several of you guys are happy to hear, but the award of the infrastructure for the Aero Forge Innovation District. As you guys know, we've already awarded the contract for the sanitary sewer work and the lift station that's out there. That contractor is getting started roughly right now. This was a separate bid package where we bid the roads and the water line associated, some sidewalks, and the connections over to Florence Street. One thing I'm very excited about is we've been budgeting this project for a while, and it's kind of changed. So the budgeting's been hard because we didn't have a defined scope for a long time, and then we got the defined scope, we got it. But very excited to say that the bids came in considerably under the budgets that we've been looking at. So I think at the time we're estimating around $7 million for this work, and our bids came in closer to about 4.5. So very happy with the bids that we received and recommend award to Cherokee Pride Construction. Happy to answer any questions you
I
guys
had
have.
a note to ask that question, so I'm glad
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
a big difference.
It is a big difference.
And nothing, no offense, I mean, excited about it.
No, I know that's the
It's
way
just
we
my
like to see it
mistake.
be, on the positive side. Yeah, we had original estimates that were before the scope is. I think our estimate from our engineer probably could have been a little bit better at the end. But that is the money we've been budgeting for a long time. So I'm very excited that we can put some of it back in the proposition to help with other projects.
Right. Good.
All right. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion. Oh, sorry.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Sorry. I kept quiet.
All right. Item 9D, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an authorization to execute an agreement for professional consulting services with Kimley Horn. Sorry, Charlie.
Good evening again, Mayor, council members, Mr. Spurgeon. This one I'm excited about because soon after I became Director of Engineering and Construction, one topic I brought up with Mr. Spurgeon was the size of our community, how much we're growing, our traffic problems across the community, and maybe how we approach traffic as a community. Traditionally, in a lot of smaller communities, you don't really approach traffic. It's just we build a light, the light programs to however you want it to operate. It operates by itself. You move on and go. And I talked about how I've worked for other communities, and I'd really like to see us mature in how we approach traffic in our city. And Mr. Spurgeon was very supportive of that, and he actually had a great idea. He said, hey, let's hold off on hiring an individual today because let's grow into it, and let's hire a contract traffic engineer that's going to basically operate like an extension of our staff, and we'll see how many hours we can start working with them. And at some point, you know, the hours and dollars make sense. Maybe we'll hire somebody full-time on staff. And that's what this contract is tonight. And I actually have the individual here in the room. I want to introduce him to you. But we have a really good traffic engineer. He's named Luke Schmidt. He's from Kimley Horn. And, you know, we see him helping us in several ways. One being just approach of design of traffic in the future. Maybe we can do more corridor studies where we're connecting the Aspen corridors, the Kenosha corridors. So when you approach one intersection light and you pull up in what you call like a pod of vehicles and then you move on, you start hitting greens after that. Today we don't do that, but we would like to be doing that in the future. And I see him helping get us there. On top of that, he could be helping our streets and stormwater department on, we have technicians that work on cabinets today, but they're not engineers, and typically we build a light and it's designed to operate the way the traffic is today, but 10 years from now that pattern might be different. Well, Luke can help us in writing memos in this situation and saying like, hey, all we got to do is get in the cabinet, change the way that signal operates, and it'll be more efficient today than maybe what it was designed to be 10 years ago. And so also in things that like come up to council through community development, oftentimes I hear you guys talking about issues. Can traffic support this? Can traffic support this? We do plan on making Luke available. If the council ever has questions, he'll be there and he can answer to you from a data perspective. You know, you make whatever decision you want to make from a political perspective, but he can help give you data and answers along the way. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I would like to invite him down to introduce him. Oh, he already came down. So with that, it's Luke Schmidt.
No pressure, Luke.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm looking forward to working with y'all and partnering with y'all on all the traffic needs in the city. Charlie stole a lot of my thunder, so we'll just talk a little bit about my history. I've been doing traffic engineering for the last 15 years, focused on everything from planning to traffic operations to future and long-range planning and future-proofing our transportation systems. In short, I'm really a traffic maximizer. So my focus throughout my career has been how do we squeeze the most out of our roadway infrastructure and how do we leverage traffic signals to operate effectively? How do we look at alternative intersection designs as well? So I'm really excited to partner with y'all and to look at different opportunities that we have in the city and continue to be an extension and answer any questions that y'all may have throughout the process. So it's going to be a great ride.
Well, I can tell you, we have a lot of citizens that are going to be glad that you're coming on board. And I can tell you, one is my husband and one is my dad. For 4 years since I've been on council, they have told me that we've needed someone like you. And I don't know if it's because of their being, retired police officers or just being men, or I don't know what it is, but they're like, that's the one thing that they've always felt like our city has been lacking is that organizational traffic flow and the way that our city does traffic. So you have some shoes to fill. They're your shoes though, because you're the first one in this area. So we're excited about that. And I think you can do some great things for us. And it sounds like we'll be able to see some good things quickly. So I'm sure there's other people out there just as excited as my dad and my husband about this. So welcome aboard, Luke.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else?
We're thrilled, looking forward to seeing what you can do.
Great.
You got a great team to work with.
Absolutely.
If you could start in the morning, that would be, that would be good.
We're actually
Traffic.
we're actually working on corridor Timon's Long Memorial right now, so trying to squeeze every last bit of capacity out of that corridor through Tulsa and Bigsby. So I'll be on site tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do you have a motion?
I will make the motion to approve, or to, let's see. Yes, I'll make the motion to approve.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna start.
Nope.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Second. Now I can't get up there to vote.
Item 9E, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an authorization for the city manager to execute a grant agreement for the City of Broken Arrow's participation in the Rebuilding America Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, the Raised Transportation Grant Program. Charlie Bright.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council Member, City Manager. Charlie Bright, Director of Engineering and Construction. This is one we've been waiting on for a long time, and I'm happy that it's here. As you guys know, we applied for and got approved for the RAISE grant for basically the corridor around the Broken Arrow Expressway approximately a year ago. It takes a long time when dealing with the federal government to get these things approved, but finally we've gotten the contract and everything approved with the federal government, and this is authorization to execute that contract. Just again, a little bit of a background on it. This study's for, I think, approximately 5.8 million. What's that?
5.4, isn't it?
Yeah, and it includes planning, preliminary design, and up to 60% design of our Elm corridor through the Broken Arrow Expressway, our Lynn Lane corridor through the Broken Arrow Expressway, our Omaha and Aspen intersection that I know you guys hear a lot about, as well as going north up to 46th Street, and then basically everything in between. It includes sidewalks, multimodal paths, and everything else to that whole corridor, with the goal of trying to make communities more connected around urban highways going through the community. So we're very excited that we got the grant with the federal government. Almost $6 million for just design is huge, and the intent of the grant is we go through this with NCOG and the federal government, and we'll immediately roll it into another application for construction dollars from them, which we do have a lot of bond money set aside for those areas. Sure. But if our bond money can go with the federal dollars in that situation, it'll really allow us to improve this area a lot better. Yeah. I would like to give a shout out and appreciation to, you guys might have never met him, but a project engineer of ours named Brent Stout. He retired from the city of Tulsa, has been an engineer for them for a long time and did planning and grants for them. And once he retired, collected his retirement check, he was like, I'm not ready to quit. So he agreed to come to the city of Broken Arrow. And we actually failed to get this grant twice in a row. And when he joined on, he pointed out a lot of things we could do better and helped us fill out that application. And the first year that he applied was the year that we got it. So nice. We're very appreciative of his efforts and very excited to be getting this.
Yeah, it's going all the way over to 51st, the major issue, that 51st and, yeah, that's going to be great.
It is.
Yeah.
So I recommend executing the grant, but I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Me? Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second that.
I'll make a motion to approve 241253.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, if I can, real quick, I'm going to ask Charlie to come back under my comments because I signed the plans today for a portion of the Gateway project that I want him to give you an update.
Oh, okay.
So, no, when I later on.
No, come back.
Yeah.
Sit down. 9F, consideration, discussion, and possible acceptance of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, fiscal year 2023 staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. The SAFER grant, sorry. Chief Moore.
Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon, City Clerk, I'm Jeremy Moore, the Fire Chief, and I'm excited to be here. He never gets honorable mention, right?
No, thanks for doing that.
You bet you, Curtis.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here to talk about this and ask for your consideration and acceptance of a $2.9 million SAFER grant provided by FEMA. No, it pales in comparison to Charlie's $5 million grant, but we're excited about it nonetheless. You may recall that our department has 175 sworn firefighters on an annual basis, but during the budget process, the city manager proposed to expand an overhiring pilot program that we'd kind of done smaller levels in the past, but overhiring 12 firefighters to help us manage department attrition. Well, we didn't provide any funding for that, so after those conversations that occurred, the innovative team that I've got jumped out there and sought federal funds and went and found the FEMA Safer Grant Program. And instead of being able to fund that for this fiscal year, the Safer Grant will actually enable us to fund the overhiring pilot program for the next 3 years. So the grant will run all the way until March of 2028 and be right at $2.9 million. We don't have any matching funds required of the city, and there are no limits on the salaries. So we're very excited about those wide open grant funds from the federal government. I'm really proud that this is the third Safer grant that our department has achieved in the last 9 years. 2015, we had a Safer grant for $1.1 million that brought in 9 firefighters. 2016, we had a Safer grant for $1.5 million that brought in 11 firefighters. So almost Charlie's amount, but $5.5 million in 9 years that we've been able to bring back our federal tax dollars back here and fund additional firefighters. And so we're really excited about that. And it really didn't go without mentioning our federal delegation voted to fund this program for area fire departments all across the U.S. and were instrumental in helping us get our application across the finish line as well. So I would entertain any questions, and we recommend approval of the Safer grant.
Chief, can you talk about the sustainability after the 3 years of?
So we don't have any obligation to maintain the pilot program or to maintain these 12 firefighters beyond the 3 years. However, we'll have several options. We could, if the pilot program is not successful or whatever, we decide this isn't the direction we want to go, we could sunset those positions through attrition, just normal retirements and so forth. We could do that. We also, depending on federal legislation, we may have the ability to apply for another federal Safer grant and continue those. A big piece of this one was people that were pending layoffs, or those was one of the categories, so we don't have layoffs here. Thank you for that. But if positions were in jeopardy, this funding could have been used for that. And so 3 years from now, they may offer a similar program where if positions are in jeopardy, you can continue funding them through the Safer grant program. So we would that. And then lastly, with the economic development efforts and the growth of the community and so forth, we would anticipate that the pilot program, if we choose to, we could continue to sustain those salaries within the fire department's operating fund.
Thank you, sir.
Are those, with those 12, they'll be informed of all of that, of course, when you hire them, is that right?
Yes. So we're in a hiring process right now. We will hire 12 that will specifically be funded in this grant program, and then we'll hire whatever vacant positions we have as well. Right now we have 3 vacant positions. So if I were to hire tomorrow, we would hire the 12 that would be very dedicated and numerated to this grant funding. And thanks to Tom and all the gang that helps us dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and our new grant administrator, Molly, will be helping us administer this appropriately. But they'll be made aware of that. And the normal attrition will probably be, if we decide to sunset these, this takes us to 187. We're funded at 175. And if we decide we don't want to continue that, we'll let normal attrition bring them back down.
Okay.
I would just say that these grants are huge. It helps take our city to the next level. As we all know, public safety is paramount. And I just want to say thank you to not just you, but all the city staff that works hard at achieving and finding these grants, because it helps to move forward without having to take money away from our regular budget. So thank you for all the hard work you guys put in to make this happen and to continue to help our city grow and move forward.
Well, thank you. And it is a village that takes care of it, because writing the grant is a difficult task in and of itself, sure. But really when finance steps in now at this point and helps administer it and make sure that we're compliant with everything, they do the heavy lifting for the next 3 years as we get them the data to support, everything that we're doing and making sure it's done right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any action on that one?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-1225. Second it. Justin, you're so quiet over there. Just click away.
He's staying focused.
Staying focused.
All right. 9G, consideration, discussion, and possible action of the Federal Transit Administration, Section 5310, grant funding distribution. Rocky.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, Mr. Spurgeon, Mr. City Clerk, and Mr. Fire Chief. I'm Rocky Hinkle, Community Development Director. To carry on the theme with public transit, pilot programs, and grants, I want to give you an update on the Broken Arrow Microtransit Program. I feel like we need a proclamation tonight for grants, so we'll try to squeeze that in next meeting. So what is the Broken Arrow Microtransit Program? It's an on-demand, curb-to-curb public transportation system. It is operated through the MetroLink Tulsa. This graph shows you the purpose of this. First of all, I also want to give thanks to Henry Biebelheimer and Amanda Yamaguchi for all the legwork. They started this process well before my time. I just inherited to give you the best results that I'm about to share with you today. So about 1.5 years to 2 years ago, the city applied for a grant to acquire 4 electric vehicles, an accessible van, and to install chargers to help with this microtransit program. So the purpose of this program was to eliminate the 508 Tulsa Transit bus route, which is that red dashed line you see there on the graph going all the way across from April to August. On average, the 508 Tulsa Transit bus line averaged 170 riders. The bars going up from April to August, as you can see, are the monthly riders utilizing the microtransit program. So there is a 267% increase utilizing the microtransit program versus the 508 Tulsa Transit. On top of that, over here you can see there is a cost savings of roughly $32,000 from using the 508 bus line and the microtransit program. So the good news is, about a month and a half ago, we got news that we were awarded a 5310 grant. This is an 80-20 match. It's for $250,000, so the city would be responsible for $50,000. This grant would be applied to operations, specifically to focus on those with mobility issues and the elderly. Right now, if you're 65 plus, you can ride the transit at a reduction rate. If you're 75 or older, it is free. Also, if you are 18 and younger, like myself, it is also free. So this grant is very effective to help with our operational costs. Currently, right now, we are using general fund money to fund the operational costs. So this essentially would eliminate the need for using general fund money over the next 2 years. So right now, one of the things that we propose to you tonight, this was a 6-month program that started in March that wrapped up roughly this month. So what we're proposing to you tonight is using these 5310 grant funds to expand our services. So one of the things that we want to do, this right now is a map of the current operating area. So one of the things we want to do is expand that map in the areas. And currently, the transit program starts at 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday. We want to extend that to 7 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, hoping we can pick up some of those students or people that work a little late, could have a ride home. Right now, it is a $2 for a 3-hour pass. However, you are not guaranteed a ride, but there has not been many issues with that as the drivers are available. So currently, there's about 2 drivers that are semi on the road at all time, but with this expansion, there will be 2 drivers on the road at all times. So what we're proposing, that light blue area is the current area, and the light green up there in the northeast corner and the brown in the southwest corner are our expansion areas. We want to focus up there in the northeast to pick up the schools, the high school, and the STEM Academy. And down south, you got the Reesers, you got the Warren Theater, the Walmart, and all that in that area. So that's one of our proposal areas. So with that, staff recommends that you support the award of the 5310 grant, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I would like to kind of see it go at least to Olive and Kenosha, but when can we look to see it maybe expanding it the next time?
So this is phase 2 of the program, of the pilot program, and we want to see how this operates over a few months as well before we bring to you another recommendation. We wanted to make incremental changes along the way, and just to make sure that we're using taxpayer funds correctly.
Mayor, if I can. We talked about that specifically, Counselor, and I didn't want the program pilot phase 2 to be another 6 months. So this will be probably 4 months. It'll start in December. We'll come back to council, give you an update, and then with the 3rd phase, which would include those other areas.
This is such a blessing, I think, for so many of our residents, and this is door to door. They pick them up at the door and they take them to the door. It's not like you're waiting on the rain and maybe they'll pick you up and maybe they won't pick you up. I feel like this is one of the best programs that our city has ever done. For the Councilor Green and I are still outside the boundaries to be able to ride the bus, but maybe the next time, or maybe, I mean, the micro transit, but maybe next time, maybe phase 3.
So
we'll
one
be
of the things I
able
want to
get-
clarify is that the map could be changed almost tomorrow, but when it comes to the time changes, that has to go to the union for them to negotiate for the drivers, which would take place, like Mr. Spurgeon said, in the first week of December.
I think we're going the right direction for sure, and I'm glad to see that we're continuing to look at it and to make it a better program. And I appreciate you listening to me, and I just wanted to get it out there so my constituents will know that I'm speaking
Well, I
for
can
them.
tell you that another thing is, at some point, we may look at some portion of the weekends. So actually, we're trying to manage this because we have to, we don't want to create an expectation that we can't fulfill. And the drivers, as Rocky and Henry and Amanda explained, really, we got to make sure that we have adequate number of drivers to be on the road in order to service our citizens, because we don't want them to wait any longer than they have to get a ride to and from where they're going. So we want it to be like a true ride share type program, and so that just trying to manage that. But to go from 170 rides per month to a 267% increase in just in 6 months, and we're just getting started.
Yeah.
So there may be a need eventually for a couple additional vehicles. It is much more cost effective to do it. I think it's the concept that most people are using today in terms of getting around. And so I appreciate the council's support on this, and we'll recommend approval.
So one thing I do want to point out is that currently our seniors have to drive to Tulsa to apply for that card to get the discount. We are working with Tulsa Transit to have a office here at City Hall, and we've been working closely with the senior center, so that way they don't have to go down to Tulsa to get that card. They can apply for it right here at City Hall to make it more convenient for them.
Oh, thank you. That's
Or could
very nice.
it be at the Tulsa County office that we already have here?
Yes, and we're also going to take it to the senior citizens as well, so
Okay.
that way they don't have to go, period. But this will be a final stop for anybody if they want to come here, but we'll also go to the senior center and work with them as well.
Okay. And you failed to mention that it's also really cool that it's called the Batmobile.
And it's also called the Batmobile.
That's really cool. I will make a motion to accept this.
Second?
I clicked it first that time.
Thank you.
before-
Yeah, I'm doing it. All right, thank you, Rocky. Item 9H, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding BAZ 1459, rezoning Broken Arrow West, approximately 109.55 acres. Amanda.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon, he disappeared. I'm Amanda Yamaguchi, Planning and Development Manager here for the city. This item is BAZ 1459-2024. This is a request to change the zoning, as you said, on approximately 109 acres from agriculture to RS2, single-family residential. Property is located west of County Line Road and approximately 1/8 mile south of Jasper Street, and is currently unplatted. The property owner is proposing to rezone for a future single-family residential development, which will be approximately 230 to 240 lots. This area is designated as level 2 in the comprehensive plan, which does support rezoning to RS2. According to the zoning ordinance, the minimum lot size for that should be RS2. Zoning district is 8,000 square foot and a minimum street frontage of 70 feet. The Planning Commission recommended approval of a change to RS3 zoning back on July 5th, 2024, with 5-0 vote. During the July 25th Planning Commission meeting, there were public comments about traffic density, road conditions, and infrastructure capabilities. In the City Council meeting held on August 20th, City Council recommended that the application be renoticed as a rezoning to RS2, single-family residential, which is a slightly larger lot size. From the original RS3 request, staff sent the new notices, and this item was rescheduled for this meeting. Staff is recommending approval of this rezoning, subject to the property being platted. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I do believe the applicant is present as well.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, I do know that it does get some heavy traffic down that way, but I believe there's some plans in the near future or in the future to do some expanding of County Line, at least between the Creek Turnpike and 121st. Knows where a lot of the backup is.
Kenny was the one who spoke to that last time. I don't think there's any funded projects at this point. I know they're on the radar. I don't think anything this far south is being discussed or planned at this time.
Okay.
I do know that, I don't know, I'm just speaking out here, that I think that they're looking at certainly the intersections, because in past history, I can tell you that when you formalize the intersections, 5, 6, 7 lanes, that it really helps traffic flow. So I'm thinking the city is going to be going in that direction. I'm not speaking for anybody right now, but I think that will help some of the traffic at north-south or either east-west traffic with the intersections, and then make the connection later on.
If I can, the counselor is exactly right. I mean, at the work session next month, the council is going to specifically talk about the philosophy of intersections, road widenings, and make sure that we have direction so we can finalize the recommendation for the next general obligation bond package. And so that's definitely going to be one of the topics. There is not any funding right now for in that area, but obviously council, as a part of that discussion, we need to know, especially if we know where there's growth areas happening leading up to the package, then we definitely need to take those into consideration, albeit the intersection or the intersection as well as the roadway.
And I will say that I've had several communications with some of the folks who live out there, and we also had an email, I think was sent to Lisa. Did you have that to read? Do you want me to go ahead and read it? It says, I'm sorry, but I can't attend this Tuesday's council meeting to discuss and protest any higher density zoning on Executive Homes proposal, including RS3 on the property immediately to our farm south. Already County Line Road can be backed up for 1/4 mile or more if heavy trucks and farm equipment is involved. At a regular mile to 4-way stop sign, adding hundreds of homes will only exacerbate the problem. It looks like years before county or state widening this busy road. I urge you and other councilors to reject the proposal as it currently stands. And I'm just reading what the citizens sent so that their comments can be made known for all the consideration. And if I remember right, the developer, last time he was here, he had this zone one way, was looking at rezoning R2 instead of R3. Is that correct?
Yes, the last
R3.
request was
Or
for
vice
RS3,
versa.
which would have been 60-foot frontage and 7,000 square foot lots. So they've changed that proposal to RS2, which brings it up to 8,000 square foot lots and minimum 70-foot frontage.
Right.
And I think that even would probably, and I'm not speaking for him, but that would even go down a little bit, because he's got so many different curves in there. By the time you look at that frontage, what is it? He's gonna have to make that frontage at 8,000 feet. So they've got to move forward or move somewhere where he can get that 8,000 feet in. But
Do you wanna
he'll speak, I'm sure.
There's a lot of different terrain in there as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
So.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Alan Betchen with AAB Engineering. We heard 3 really clear questions last time. Was one, making sure that we were going to give you what we said we were going to give you,
Right.
which that's why that request went back to RS2. The whole intent was 70 foot, like to be a 70-foot conforming. The question about the RS3 was there's a pretty significant creek that runs right along that western boundary, and there's some fingers that come back up off of that creek that create some pretty significant gullies. And that's where you get into some of those lost areas. So, but we're perfectly content with having a fully conforming RS2 subdivision. The other thing that we heard very clearly was the concerns about traffic, and we are cognizant of that. I mean, obviously that's a concern that you always have. Mr. Schwab mentioned last time, and we'll commit to, as we move forward with the project, we'll do a traffic impact analysis. And I can tell you, since the developer and ultimately us as the engineer is developing not only that, but the tract owns the tract south of that all the way down to 141st, and the tract on the east. That'll be a comprehensive study that's not just looking at this one little tract, it's looking at that entire undeveloped corridor that they're looking at bringing online. And then the third thing, and the harder one, frankly, is the schools. There's always a tension, right, between ad valorem that pays for the schools and when they can access it. And I don't pretend to understand the complexity of when they can release the bonds and how that works. But I think we can say a 70-foot by 135 product that's probably going to be majority selling in excess of 600,000 is going to create more ad valorem dollars per capita of student that comes out of that neighborhood than an otherwise smaller, more dense subdivision. Just by virtue of the home, if not by virtue of the likely number of students that are generated by that size of home. There was some concern that we certainly heard about. What about the areas that are outside the city and knowing what happens with those? You do sit in a unique spot as the city in this particular application, in that anything that's under half an acre has to come back to talk to you because you're the sanitary sewer provider. So it's going to be half acre or greater because it can't conform to DEQ standards. And I'm telling you that we actually have pending plats for some of those. This is really, and I'm not trying to minimize it, but the number of homes you're looking at across this large of an area is a very complementary to how it's developed in the area. And I think the provisions of the code and the engineering criteria will let us move forward and safely address those traffic concerns and make the improvements that are necessary in the corridor to make sure that it's not an issue for us too. So I mean, when we do those studies, those don't just say, hey, here's the results and yep, it's bad. There's requirements that come out of those, and we have to meet those requirements. And we're more than willing, and we understand that as part of a development, and we're willing to commit to that. So this is, I hope you think and believe that we're really trying to meet in the middle and find a way to do it that works. And I think this is a project that Broken Arrow would be very proud of to have on the south side. It's a good anchor project that I think really sets the standard for what you expect development to be.
I'm thankful you listen. I mean, you clearly listened to our concerns last time, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that also. R2 is one of our bigger lots. I don't remember the last time we ever did an R1, you know what I mean, subdivision. So, and that is going to cut back down on the number of homes. You know, you're correct. You said the last time you was in here, you mentioned some kind of time frame where this would develop.
Yeah.
Can you
So,
repeat that?
I mean, whenever you, just the city, so I'm calling the city lot portion that you see on the north, that's at least 2 phases of development, probably 3. And when you consider that it takes us somewhere between 15 months and 2 years to bring a single phase on, and then you start building houses, and then the next phase starts, you're talking about somewhere between, you know, you're not going to see roofs out there for 2 years from now. I mean, if they're pulling building permits in 18 months, they're going to be super excited with me. That's unlikely. And you really talk about a final build out of that entire project in excess of 10 years. And that's an aggressive builder that puts a lot of volume on the ground. I do think the product will be well received. There is, I mean, just, you hear it, but there really is a lot demand shortage. It's a thing, and housing is a serious issue. This is a product that isn't even that entry level product. This is a step up, and I think it's something that, as a council, especially one that has to answer to the school district about, hey, we heard you, and we're doing something in response to us, and this is, we not only curtailed density, but we also made sure it was a quality of product that really brings those dollars per capita. I think that's a sell that's an honest statement that says we heard and we cared. I don't know that it solves the problem, but it shows that we're putting effort into it.
I'd agree.
Thank you.
And we got a new traffic guy who's going to be able to help us out there.
That's what I was going to say, Luke.
I'm sure it'll get reviewed by him before we're done, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Amanda, what is the surrounding zoning in that area? I guess probably just to the northwest over there, that subdivision? Is that an R2 subdivision?
So you've got R2 over on would be the east side. You've got A1 immediately north, and then county agriculture on the northwest, with the county to the south as well. So mostly agriculture, but some R2 over the south.
That's in the city is R2 then?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would note that RS1 on the southeast corner is actually a county rule more closely matching RE, and it's not even, it's getting a density that's more like 1 acre per lot
Okay.
than even half acre per lot. So I think we have maybe 90 lots on 80 acres because it's got a creek and terrain is the thing. So, I mean,
Okay.
I would ask that you really be mindful of that whenever we look at these, because this isn't the flat areas that we get to go just, hey, we can grid them in and it packs in. We have to really look at terrain because it's just not viable
Yeah.
in places. This is a good project, and I think it's something, the reason why I can't tell you, hey, that southern line that's the city limits line today, we do anticipate at some point in time to come and ask for an annexation line that would conform to block lines. If you can imagine, if you had a subdivision, hitting that directly is not maybe the most efficient layout for what that is. And we would ask for this zoning, but it's a relatively minor number, and it depends, whenever I say that, if you count those lots as that aren't currently fully in it, then as half in, half out, because we do anticipate that in the future, it's just not something we have everything put together for in this phase. So I think this is something that I really say that, and I can't always say that with every product that someone's asking us. This is something that the city should really support and stand behind and say, this is what we expect as we come forward.
I'd agree. All right. Any further discussion?
Make a motion, we approve the crest.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right, we are tabling item 9I and J, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mayor, just for point of clarification, J would be tabled until after executive session today.
Okay.
And I is tabled till when?
October 1st.
Okay. There are no preview ordinances. Item 11 is ordinances. 11A, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3844. Amanda?
Yes, this is an ordinance changing the zoning map. Earlier this year, we approved BAZ 1008, actually it's 2023, so the end of last year, the plat was filed for Aspen Ridge Business Park North, so we're asking to change the zoning map accordingly.
Okay. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 3844.
I'll second that motion.
11B is the emergency clause.
Motion to approve the emergency clause.
Second.
Item 11C, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3845, an ordinance amending the Broken Arrow Code of Ordinances, Chapter 12, garbage and other refuse. Trevor.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon. The item before you had previously been previewed by this body back in May. It basically just updates our solid waste ordinance just to reflect how we actually operate. It also changes some of the terms so that we make sure we refer to Mr. Schuber as the Director of Solid Waste and Recycling. We also clarify that we're using containers now with the recycling and the trash. It does clarify that the containers do need to be put out after 5 p.m. the evening before the trash gets picked up. That way it matches the operations that we're doing a little bit earlier than what we had. So again, it's pretty much just clarifying. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But we recommend that you adopt it and also adopt the emergency clause.
Okay. Any discussion?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 3845.
Second.
Okay.
A motion for the emergency.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Can you try your motions and seconds again? Thank you.
Getting there. Item 12 is remarks and inquiries by governing body members.
Well, I just want to say we have talked about a lot of grants tonight. We've accepted a lot of grants tonight, have been awarded a lot of grants tonight. But that doesn't that doesn't happen unless we follow through with what we say that we're going to do for years and years and years. You get reputations from the federal government and from other organizations that will allow you to have these grants. And I think it does have to do with our finances. I think it has to do with our, also our departments. And so I just want to say on behalf of the city of Broken Arrow, and I know on our council as well, thanks to our staff for working so hard on following through with those grants and all those requirements, because I used to write grants and I used to have to make sure I did what I said and said what I did, and they're not easy to obtain, and they're not easy to continue to get year after year after year unless you do what you say. So congratulations on all those renewals, and that's really bringing a lot of money back to our city that isn't having to come out of our sales tax. So thank you for everybody.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just say two quick things. One, Scott Fest was here. It was a great time. I went out Friday night and spent some time out there and spent more money than I should have. But we're always thankful to have those kind of events here in our city. It brings a lot of people to our city, a lot of finances to our city. So thank you for Scott Fest for being here again. It was in a new location.
I think it worked out great.
Yeah, I think it worked out great. So thank you for that. And I just forgot the other thing I was going to say, but I'm getting old, so.
I might comment along the Scott Fest that our mayor did a great job of representing the city of Broken Arrow as they had their opening activities. I was impressed. I hadn't seen their opening activities before.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite part.
It is really great, but Deborah did a great job of representing us and welcoming them to the city of Broken Arrow. And I thought it was good too. I don't know if the turnout, it's hard to tell about the turnout comparing it with the two,
Right.
because the event center's so big. But I was pleased with it.
Yeah. Actually, I think I know it was a struggle to figure out how to make that new location work, but they really utilized that entire area of the community center. And it kind of made me think about Rooster Days back in the day when we used to utilize the entire area. And it was really cool, and I really liked it. But yeah, the opening ceremonies of Scott Fest is really great because the family clans come out, and then all the pipe bands come out, and it's really cool.
I remember the second thing I was going to say. We had a citizen come before council a while back ago, reminding us about the issue of the U.S. mail and them closing our sorting center here in Tulsa. When council traveled to D.C., we took that issue with us, and we talked to our congressman, and we let them know the concerns our citizens had here in our area. And today it was announced that they are not moving our sorting center to Oklahoma City, and they are spending a lot of money to upgrade the postal system here. So I think it may not have been all because of us, but taking that option to take the concerns of our citizens to DC and share, I believe it makes a difference.
Absolutely. This Saturday is Hops and Bops, so another great event going to be this weekend. So that'll be fun.
Are we talking about why our vice mayor's not here tonight?
No? Are we?
Well,
Can we talk about
yes,
it?
I thought one of you,
Go ahead.
would mention. Go ahead.
I don't really know all the details. I do know that she's at some kind of a, something for floodplain, and that I think she's getting a big award for her work.
Drainage, yeah.
Okay, so about drainage, because we know how our vice mayor loves drainage. So I don't know all the details, but I think she's getting a big award, and that's why she's not here
Yeah,
tonight.
with Kenny. That's why
Yes,
Kenny's
that's
gone
why
as
Kenny's
well.
not here.
You basically covered it. I mean, there was a stormwater project that was off of Florence between Elm Place and Aspen, one of our developments, and some residents reached out to her with concerns about the fact that we needed to do maintenance and the fact that we needed to improve it to make sure that we hold water, retain water, and actually she learned a great deal about it and made some suggestions, worked with the residents, and then the design was what we submitted, and then her involvement. So she was being recognized at Kenny's conference for stormwater.
Like legislator of the year or something like that?
Just as basically elected official that has taken an interest in stormwater. I mean, it's one of the four basic foundations of every community. Streets we talked about tonight. Then you got your sanitary sewer, which council we now have our plan in place. You have your potable water, and then you have your stormwater. And so we have plans in our community to address all four of those because it's the foundation in which we as a community, you can't go forward if you're not taking care of those the four corners of engineering, as they say.
Yeah.
All right. City Manager?
Good evening, Mayor. I have 5 things I want to mention. I will be brief here. The first is I want to let the council know that the Housing Task Force has their next meeting before the end of this month. One of the Wagner County Commissioners agreed to, Commissioner Hanning actually agreed to participate. And so I'm excited that Wagner County is going to be as a part of this because as we've talked about between 40 and 60% of the Broken Arrow Public School District is not within the city. So having Wagner County there, which is predominantly where it's at, is going to be extremely important. So we can continue to meet to understand the number of lots that have been approved, to understand exactly where the school district is in terms of development, how fast we're growing, and so forth, to get all the information, and still going to continue to meet every month until we're ready to make a recommendation to the city council on anything to do with land development with regard to housing. Secondly, a quick update. The City Hall Task Force met last month, and they continue their endeavor to look at developing a recommendation to the governing body with regard to the best location for the new City Hall. I believe that they will meet next month or in early November at the latest, and that we're still on track for my office to bring you, or the committee to bring a recommendation to the council at the end of the year, early 2025, about which option. And once council makes that determination on which site we will pick, or you choose and finalize, then we begin the process of the actual design of the facility and site itself. And it's been a very dynamic and fluid process, and citizens that the council have appointed have been very involved. Most of them have been very involved in the process, and I look forward to later this year. It's interesting to see folks that are new folks get involved, and how it takes them a meeting or two to understand the flow. So it's good to see some folks getting involved. So I'm excited about we continue that process. Also, third thing is, last week I met with the Visit Broken Arrow Board and gave them a mini state of the city about what's going on. I think that they were pleasantly surprised at the growth that they're experiencing, the projects that are happening. We spent a little time talking about the amphitheater, the partnership with Notes Live, and probably sometime in the next month or two, I'm going to have a meeting with the chairperson, probably Councilor Ford, and invite the mayor, because I want to get their input and then come back to the board to talk about anything they'd like to see as a part of the bond package, and make sure we get their input. Also, even and just look at what opportunities may be out there to partner with the amphitheater. We're waiting for the promoter to get on site, and that'll probably happen in early 2025. And then we can start partnering with the promoter of the venue, get them connected with the hotels and so forth. So it was good to be before the visitors board, and they were very engaged and asking some good questions. And the final two things, I'm gonna ask James to pull this up and just actually hone in a little bit for me. There's a couple of things I wanted to mention because I think these are important to the community about what council just approved us to go forward and sell. The first two are in proposition number 1, and that is the widening Aspen from Tucson to Shreveport. Okay, that's a project that I know council members, especially the folks that are involved in soccer and baseball, hear a lot about, and that's the construction money we need. We've been working on this, which means the design is being completed, right-of-way acquisition. We secured about a $1.5 million to $2 million grant for the intersection of 131st and Aspen. And Charlie and his team are working on this. This is the construction money, a part of the construction money, and we're tentatively looking to actually award that contract late next summer and be under construction in the fall to go from Tucson all the way out to Indian Springs Sports Complex. So I want to let the public know we hadn't forgotten about this. We're still rocking and rolling towards that, getting to construction. And then also, this is something very important, is just two underneath that is residential street improvements. So as you know, we have a PCI, pavement condition index, of right now of 71. And that is phenomenal for a community to have a pavement condition index of 71. in order for us to do that, we really need to be spending about $6 million a year to do the street maintenance work on existing streets. So between the dedicated sales tax and the funding that we get from the bonds, we are very close to that $6 million. And some year we're a little bit over it, but I just wanted to let you know is that I'm going to be signing probably 12 set of plans in the next few months for 12 different areas or subdivisions within our community to actually work on both concrete and asphalt, in addition to what Tim Wilson and his team do. And so it's just a reminder is that we're not forgetting about what is needed, that once it's here, we got a responsibility to maintain it. And then finally, this is something that I know is very important to council. In proposition number 3, community trail network. So the council's talked about connectivity. In proposition number 3, the voters approved this sale is almost $1.6 million that will actually be matched with some federal funding that we received in terms of a grant to continue our efforts to connect our community in other ways than just vehicular transportation. So I just want to point those out to council members. And we'll be talking more because the next micro survey we're going to be doing is connectivity, to basically just reaffirm that folks would like to see sidewalks coming together where they may not exist, additional trails, so there can be that passive and active recreation throughout our city, not just sports related. So.
Have you got that in a memo form that you just read?
Yes, I can put it together, yes.
Can you do that and send it to us?
Yes.
Appreciate it.
And then finally, I signed a set of plans today, which means we're getting ready to go out to bid. I want Charlie to come back up here. It's regarding the Gateway project. If just for the public's knowledge, the council created a task force to look at gateways, actually providing additional signage into our community, and a recommendation was submitted regarding that signage, and it's really 2 phases. It is the signing that's going to go around town, then eventually it could be what I would call the gateway type project. And I want Charlie to give a quick update to the council on where we're at.
Good evening again. So several of you guys know we had another citizens committee years ago for a master plan on gateways. We did great work. That master plan included, as Mr. Spurgeon just mentioned, several signage that is entryway coming into our community, and that includes primary signs, which we're estimating are going to be about around $100,000 each, and they're brick, mortar, stone, lights, landscaping, very nice, welcome to Broken Arrow signs. And then we have secondary signs that are very more simple. They're still like a brick and mortar and stone, but just a column and with maybe a little bit of light on them. Not as expensive. And then we have what we're calling tertiary signs, which are more just street signs, but they say welcome to Broken Arrow. They'll be on a nicer, probably powder coated black pole with a base, a little bit more decorative, but not expensive at all. This council approved a master plan of where we'd locate all those, and it was really where we put them was based off traffic counts, what the traffic counts were coming in on those streets at the time, with the idea that as traffic counts increase, we'll take secondary signs and we'll create primary signs and as future funding. So what we had the city manager sign today, earlier this year, it's really the process to get here has really been about acquiring land. People don't like giving up the frontage area of land, so finding places we can put them and acquiring that land. City manager earlier this year said, hey, I guess I'm telling on myself a little bit. He said, hey, by Labor Day, I want those out to bid. I'm sorry, we're a couple weeks late, but anyway, we did sign the plans today. The plans include, so in total, we were gonna have 8 primary signs with a few secondary and several tertiary. Plans today included 4 of the primaries, all the secondaries and all the tertiaries. The 4 primaries that we aren't including right now are for various reasons. One, because one of the signs is up by Omaha Street where Tulsa County is going to be doing their work. And I think that might be one of the intersections there's a roundabouts going in at. But it was really trying to locate it around Tulsa County's work. So we're still working with them on that. Another one of them was going to be up on Highway 51 as you get off the Broken Arrow Expressway, and we're still trying to do some coordination with ODOT on being in ODOT's right of way. And then the final 2 were on properties that I believe have had pre-development meetings with community development, and we're trying to work out what development they're going to do on their property in order to make sure we fit with that in some way. But all the others, we already got the property, so we put those 4 out to bid. We're going to get all the others done. And the idea is if we can acquire some of these other properties as we're going through the process, we'll probably change order in, adding them into the contract as we go. So they go out to bid, I think, next week. And so probably, where are we at? Probably the last October meeting or early November meeting, you guys will have a construction award on council.
Very cool.
So very excited
Well,
to do
I'm
that.
glad we were talking about this again because there was a rumor that it was the Gateway, George Soros Foundation or something.
No.
And it's a Gatesway committee about the gateway into our city. So now
Absolutely.
it's on the record, and we
I
can
didn't
lay
know
that to
that.
rest.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that, but
I didn't either.
it's certainly,
Yes.
it is certainly not that.
It is certainly not.
How tall are they gonna be?
Off the top of my head, I think they were like just 6, 7 feet tall with some lighting. They do have the basic design has some taller evergreens behind them because we kind of wanted to create a backdrop behind it. I believe one, if not two of the locations are going to be in front of Quick Trips, and part of the deal was we agreed not to put the evergreens in there because they already have nice landscaping behind it. And so Quick Trip was very amenable and worked out deals with us. I don't think they charged us anything, and great partners, but their only ask was that we didn't block the view to the Quick Trip behind it. So,
Well, and we certainly don't want to spend money on signs to have them tear them down just to have to redo them again. So,
yeah, absolutely.
of course, we want to do things the smart way.
Yep.
So,
A standard sign goes anywhere else. We'll have some evergreens behind it, and actually be a taller background. The ones in front of Quick Trip will not. But
Okay.
it's exciting. Were you on the committee, Mayor? I don't remember.
it
Christie
was
was.
Oh,
vice
Christie was.
mayor. It was vice mayor, and then Councilor Rudy.
Yeah,
were the
it
two-
has been a
two at the
while.
time.
It
Yep.
is, yeah.
Yeah, excited to see that.
Yep.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See some movement on it for sure.
I forgot to mention, we went to the Oklahoma Municipal League
Yeah, I was gonna-
conference this week. And it was really neat. You brought up new employees, so it was really cool to see our new employees there and directors in different new positions or what have you. So that was really cool. And the city was up for 2 awards for the Mission 22, and was it 1BA?
Yes, it was one BA.
Yeah, we did
you-
not get them, but we are going to keep trying because they're both amazing.
And
so.
you were up for Mayor of the Year again, and you were also up for Woman of the
Also did
Year.
not win that, but that's.
But you were nominated. That was a pretty big deal.
Joyce Calvert of Glenpool won Mayor of the Year, and she's amazing.
If you were going to have to lose to somebody, she would have been okay to lose to for sure.
But I think those projects that we have been submitting have been awesome, and we need to keep doing that.
We
so.
need to keep submitting, and obviously, at some point, the amphitheater project and
Oh,
the partnership
that's-
with the city,
Yeah,
should be up for consideration,
Yeah.
and that's an incredible opportunity, for especially within the state participating in the
That's
annual
huge.
impact that it's going to have, for our community, the region, and the state.
yeah. That'll be amazing. 2025, or 2026.
2026, I think.
Yeah.
That's all I have,
Okay.
Mayor.
We do have an executive session. Entertain a motion to,
I make a motion that we take a recess of general council session and move to Bama.
okay,
Second?
roll call?
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Wimpy.
Yes. I call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call?
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here.
Parks,
Here.
Gillespie, Wimpy.
Here. Are there any items from the consent agenda to be removed?
Yes, Mayor. Item D.
Oh, you're right. Item D, other than item D.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item D.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call? And are we tabling for discussion, or?
I asked for that to be tabled. I need to speak to Mr. Schuber and Mr. Schwab, because obviously at some point, this is something that the authority is going to have to look at, a transfer station, and I have some questions. I want to make sure that I understand the study being prepared, because obviously once you have a study completed, then there's expectations that are created that you're going to move forward with it. And I think this is something that we do need to talk about as an authority, and there needs to be a plan of action for the future for it. And I just don't want to do a study and then it sit on the shelf and grow dust. I want to make sure that council, in their capacity as the authority, is ready to make those steps. And Jerry's got a plan. Jerry understands this, better than anyone that I've known in my career in terms of solid waste. But I just want to make sure that it's like everything else we do, is that we're doing it for a reason. There is a plan. We can justify it to the public, because obviously there's tremendous capital costs and operational costs that go with it. And I want to make sure everyone understands those, and again, the authority's comfortable along the way.
Thank you, sir. There are no public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognitions, or awards. In general authority business, 6A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an authorization to execute Resolution 1604. Cindy.
Good evening. Last authority meeting, Jerry and Ryan, who's so excited, you guys approved 12 side loaders for the solid waste.
Yes.
And we said we would bring funding back to you. We actually looked at a couple of different options. There was a government leasing, and then there was a bank in Guthrie. And we went with the bank with Guthrie. They offered the best rate at 4.1. We had some money that was already budgeted for the truck, so we went ahead and used that. So we're only going to borrow $3.2 million versus the a little over 5. And Resolution 1604 is authorizing the issue of the promissory note series 2024 in the aggregate principal amount of $3,264,000, waiving competitivity and authorizing the note to be sold. Staff recommends the authority to approve Resolution 1604 and do the execution for it.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 1604.
Second?
And it's exciting. We should be getting about half the trucks by December.
Oh, yeah, that's what they were saying. It was going to be pretty quick.
Because of those good relationships.
Yes.
That Jerry has.
Yeah.
And Ryan,
Yes, and Ryan.
because he's super excited.
Can they buy fire trucks and ambulances?
I don't know.
Can you guys introduce Chief Moore?
Who's Chief Moore?
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Remarks by governing body members?
We love you, Chief Moore. We wouldn't mess with you if we didn't like you.
We could because we care.
Yes.
Okay, Madam Chair, I want to give you an update. I asked for specifics on the award the Vice Mayor received.
Yes.
And so the floodplain, I love all these acronyms, like Council Green said. The Oklahoma Floodplain Management Association designated Christie as the 2024 Public Official of the Year Award for their association. So that's
a pretty big deal.
We'll be doing obviously a press release. Mr. Schwab sent me a few pictures of her receiving this award. So, I mean, believe me, Broken Arrow is a leader in many things. One of the things we're recognized throughout the state is having the experience and the leader in floodplain management. Tulsa is excellent at it as well. We know they solve a lot of longstanding problems, and Broken Arrow also is a leader in that area. So,
Wonderful.
congratulations, Vice Mayor.
I understand in my 4 years, that's the first time I ever knew one of our council members doing
Yeah.
something like that. So
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
All right, we have no executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call. Call the Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority to order. Roll call.
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here.
Parks,
Here.
Gillespie, Wimpy.
Here. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Item 5A, introduction of the new Business Retention and Expansion Manager with the Economic Development Corporation, Jim Fram.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Spurgeon. I'm delighted to be here this evening with some good news. One of the most important things that we do, most important functions in economic development is taking care of existing business and existing employers. And so as one of the elements in our contract with the authority is to provide a business retention expansion manager who will maintain a database and information on those existing companies to be sure that we're providing all the assistance that we can, that we're helping them grow and be profitable in Broken Arrow, and to possibly identify a crisis before it becomes a crisis. We did a pretty extensive search. We interviewed several people, and it's my pleasure to introduce Bradley Shofey, who is our new manager for business retention and expansion. Bradley has 2 degrees from the Oklahoma State University, one in business management, one in entrepreneurship, and has extensive experience in calling and maintaining relationships with businesses. So it's my pleasure to introduce Bradley.
Hi.
Great to be here and honored to be chosen for the position and excited to get to work.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Yeah. Lifelong Broken Arrow, so yeah, no, it's great to again serve the businesses in our community and bring people to Broken Arrow, but more importantly, keep them here. So.
Absolutely.
That's a good answer.
Yes, I love it. Glad you're here, for sure.
Good to be here. And I don't have any news on traffic situations, but I'm a fan of it. So.
Okay.
Well, we do believe that's very important to take care of our businesses that are here, for sure. It's very important to us, so we're glad you're here.
Yep. Looking forward to working with you.
If I can, Mayor, I mean, I talked to Jim right after he started about the importance of BRE, and I hit a nerve because he spent the next 30 minutes giving me the history of BRE and many examples of how successful it was in, and as he said, finding out and having those relationships that prevent companies from leaving or some kind of catastrophe. And so I've always believed in it, and it's very convincing. And so he heard us, and I'm thankful for that, and we're glad to have you.
Yeah, over here. Awesome.
Look forward to
Welcome.
working with you.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Item 6 is general authority business. 6A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the Arrow Forge Master Plan. Ted Kunda.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, City Manager. I'm Ted Cundiff, Chair for Arrow Forge. As you know, unfortunately, I do not have any grant money like Charlie Bright or Chief Moore tonight, but I do have exciting news.
Okay.
So we are at the point now with Arrow Forge, we're getting ready to do the groundbreaking October 4th. So in order to do that, we really wanted to have marketing material available so that as we attract people to the area, they'll kind of understand the concept and what we're trying to achieve. So tonight before you are two different options that we would like the City Council to consider one of those options so that we can do a rendering out on the site and then also use this as marketing material as we go out and start to attract industry to this location. As you're aware, City Council approved a study from Half and Associates. I think it's been probably 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. COVID years kind of messes us up, but it's been a while. But they created a document for us to do an inventory of what industries that we have in the community, what suppliers supply those industries, so that we would really have a good marketing group to go after to try to start the attraction for this area. So we'll take that information and try to start attracting the businesses, but before you tonight is the two different options. The first option, both of them, again, there's not a right or a wrong. This is just trying to portray a rendering and a concept to the general public so as they pass by, they can see the concept of the mixed use, the industry, the office space, housing's a possibility. We didn't want to leave anything out. Beck did a great job with the design and helping us think through the possibilities that we could attract to this area. The overall concept is to create 1,000 jobs in the innovation area, which is Arrow Forge. So having the marketing material is really going to help us with the visualization of that. So if you have any questions about either concept, both are very similar. The one that is up right now is probably my favorite just because it seems like as the entrance from the north side, the orange area is more of the central gathering type areas, and it seems like there's a lot of cohesiveness with that. So I think people would really be attracted to that type of option. Both of them have those community areas. This one just seems a little more cohesive, having more of a big gathering place than one. But again, when Kenny Schwab and his group in engineering along with Beck designed this, this is basically made up of 4 lots. So when that is approved, we have a lot of flexibility because we'll do lot splits. So if we have an industry that wants 20 acres or 5 acres or 10 acres, we'll have that ability to accommodate them with the flexibility of the plan, that at least this gives a visual for it.
When you talk about will you just talk real quick about the Spine Road and the thought behind that? And
Sure. The citizens of Broken Arrow passed in a bond issue to create the Innovation District. I believe it was originally $9 million that we had set aside in the bond to create the infrastructure to have this Innovation District. And so that money is going for what you just mentioned, the spine road. So in the groundbreaking, the intent is to go ahead, do the infrastructure, road, street, sewer, along just that spine. So again, then we still have that flexibility of the 4 different lots that we can then adjust to whoever comes before us, whether it's office first or manufacturing or whatever it may be. Then we'll have those options to do lot splits and then accommodate those.
Okay.
So the infrastructure would run down that spine road?
Yeah, so that main road that runs through, that's what will be created in the beginning, and then once that's created, then we'll hopefully attract that first industry, and depending on what it is, and will depend on where it kind of fits in the mix and how much land they need. And
I mean, just looking at my eye, I was naturally drawn to the second one as well, with, like you said, the cohesiveness of the gathering areas there. And I also like the fact that we don't have all the parking lots up front. So cars aren't going to be the first thing you see when you drive by and look at the property.
I was leaning towards the second one too. I don't know, something about the little weaving of the.
Yeah, the curves. make
Yeah,
it
the
a
curves,
little
I just kind of like
appealing.
that, yeah.
And again, it's meant to be very flexible, but just give a vision so that as people come by, they'll know that this isn't the normal industrial park. And they'll be asking about what is Aero Forge, and hopefully engage us so that we can tell them the difference in programming and connections with higher ed and other things that we've all talked about over the years.
For years.
Years.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Finish line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beginning of the finish line.
I lean towards the second one as well.
It just took getting a new council on board to get the process moving forward.
I'm not sure about that one, but it's okay.
We're actually, I feel like we're moving quicker than what they projected. When they first told us how long it was going to be, it was like, oh, no.
Yeah, I like the second one. You know, I'm just glad that we're getting started on something that we can use. It's hard to sell it with a bunch of, even if you mow it, it's just a flat field.
Right.
So
Yeah.
get some infrastructure in there. I think it will help sell it even more.
Yeah,
understand.
and really the first industry is going to really set the standard and dictate what else goes in there. So we'll be very picky on what is that first type of industry that goes in there. But once we get that, I think then we can probably craft something that's a little more in stone on the marketing material, because we'll know what to feed off of what we attract.
It's kind of what I was going to say. I mean, we're leaning towards selecting one, but it's not as if we couldn't, if
Sure.
anyone.
The
we
more
could
the
ask.
merrier.
Right.
Mr. Cup and I talked about that, and obviously you want to throw a concept out there that folks can visualize. And just as he just mentioned, you know, if there's a business or two that needs more space than actually what's shown on here, that's the flexibility, and the road is being designed to allow us the greatest amount of flexibility, that if we had a larger manufacturer that would go there, that the road wouldn't be that much of a hindrance.
Right.
There was a lot of discussion about that.
A lot of sticky notes.
A lot of sticking.
All right.
We just need council's approval of that, so then we can go forward accordingly.
Okay.
Authority, I should say.
I'll make a motion to approve the approval of Aero Forge Master Plan number 2.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call. Historic moment right there.
Yeah.
All right. Remarks and inquiries by governing body members. City manager.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say thank you to the community development team for the microtransit program and also for the Uber rideshare. I think those are economic development initiatives, and I want to thank the authority for supporting that. I mean, we went through a very detailed process with both of those and getting citizens involved. And the most important thing here is trying to provide opportunities for our citizens to be able to get around. which is really economic development, getting them to the basic services, and we're just getting started. And I just wanted to acknowledge Rocky and Amanda and Henry and everyone in community development, and also the folks in the TED team that were collaborated on both of those, because like I said, it's really going to be really good for our city.
Yep, thank you. We do have an executive session. Entertain a motion to take a brief recess.
Mayor, you can go ahead and adjourn Beta.
Yeah, Mayor, to clarify, Beta does not have executive session, so give
wait.
one more motion to adjourn
So
Beta
sorry.
and go back into council.
Second.
Thank you for that. For a motion, a second. Roll call. I was just ready to move on.
I am too.
All right, now I entertain a motion for a brief recess.
And Mayor, there's one more item. We did table item 9B, and I'd recommend that we consider that before we go into executive session and then consider the last tabled item.
In general council business.
Yeah, that bond.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Good evening.
So glad you're
This
here,
is
Trevor.
Yes.
Resolution 1605, a resolution of the City of Broken Arrow approving the occurrence of indebtedness by the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority, issuing its promissory note series 2024 for $3,200,000. I just went blank. $264,000 for the 12 side loaders for solid waste and recycling.
Yes. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 1605.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call. Motion
Thank you.
passes. You're welcome. How about now?
Make a motion, we take a brief recess, and then go into executive session.
And clear the room.
Yes.
We tabled item J, was that until a future meeting?
That's after the executive session.
Okay, so after executive session.
So,
I've got the motion to clear the room.
Yes.
Yes.
What was, who made the second?
no one.
I'll make a second.
Okay,
Okay.
Grab you as soon as we're done. It should.
Actually,
all right.
clearing
Green,
the room.
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.